All right, we are going to be talking some important statistics, analytics about dynasty rookie wide receivers in this upcoming 2022 class. And so if you haven't watched previous videos, last year I even talked about wide receivers when they're drafted, what is important and what is not important. Now I'm going to summarize that 8-minute video here fairly shortly here. And what it means is that the first 3 rounds are so incredibly important. And after that round 3, there's a big dark line that says, hey, 4 through 7, there's a big, huge drop off in production, at least historical wise. And that's what we care for, right? If we care that very few wide receivers from rounds 4 through 7 actually produce at the NFL level. Now, there was a couple rookies that were in the top 24 last year, Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, and you guessed it, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is not a top 3 rounder. And we're going to talk about the wide receivers in the last 10 years, which is a while, that have succeeded at being a top 24 wide receiver in PPR their rookie year. And so the wide receivers, I'm going to list off the round 1 players here. It's Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Justin Jefferson, Skull, Calvin Benjamin, Evans, and OBJ, which sounds like an SEC list, basically. So I guess rule number 1, draft an SEC wide receiver. Apparently that's what you're supposed to do. Alabama, LSU, maybe even throw some Texas A&M in there. It seems like those are going to be the majority of the players are SEC, but round 1 is going to give you over half of the wide receivers that are going to perform at a top 24 level their rookie year. Over half in the last 10 years. Because the round 2 players, there's not many. There's actually 4 round 2, and then there's 3 players after round 3 or later that have actually succeeded as having successful rookie seasons. And we'll list them, and you can tell us if you think they're great or not. But A.J. Brown, you have Claypool, you have Juju Smith-Schuster, and you have Michael Thomas. And you could say maybe half of those, Claypool and Juju, have had down sophomore seasons and even worse. For at least Juju has been even worse since then. A.J. Brown has been injury prone, but he's been successful. And Michael Thomas, of course, being a dynasty stud for 3-4 years there. So round 2 gives you the second best chance, of course, which makes sense. It's still a decent chance. But then we get into round 3, which is Keenan Allen. He is the only rookie that has succeeded in the top 24 the last 10 years. And then you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who really the first half of the last year was horrible. Just wasn't existent. And it was only when DeAndre Swift, when T.J. Hawkinson, and everybody else seemed to just be injured or not around. And so he ended up being a top 24 wide receiver. And then so did Tyreek Hill. And his was more of the off-field issues is why he dropped in the draft. And he was like a running back, basically. So, and he kind of ran slow. I'm going to say he ran slow he could run a 4.2 at this last 40 if he ran today. If he ran his rookie time today, I bet it'd be 4.2. I think the clock got a little faster this last draft. But that's beside the point. There has been successful players, a la Stefon Diggs, right there, that have succeeded after their rookie year, and he was drafted from Maryland. And he was drafted after round 3. There are very few players, though, from rounds 4 through 7, including undrafted, that succeed at the NFL level. And what this tells me, again, is that if you want immediate production, draft capital is the key. And it's a key in analytics, too. I'm going to see players that are going to be like Chris Olave, or you're going to have Jahan Dotson, or Wandel Robinson, or you're going to have, name whoever, Sky Moore. These different rounds are going to be so crucial. Sky Moore going into the second round versus a Christian Watson going in the first round. Like, if they're really close prospect-wise, Christian Watson takes definitely a bigger jump being a first-round draft pick. Kadarius Toney was the number 1 prime example of this last year, who is a player that I actually did not like out of Florida. And so Kadarius Toney actually had a 3-4 person jump, and there was actually a situation where it was Kadarius Toney versus Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was a 4th-round prospect, or 4th-round drafted player, which I thought he was going to be a day 2 pick. I thought he was going to be late round 2, early round 3. I was wrong with that type of analyst. I still think that maybe I was right. Maybe they were wrong. I don't know what people were not seeing from Amon-Ra St. Brown. I saw him as a decent wide receiver. I said that he had Keenan Allen-like abilities, which it's funny that Keenan Allen was drafted in the round 3 and has been a successful player since. But I was even battling that in my head, which before that you had Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you had a gap until you got to Kadarius Toney. And so you're going to see this in this upcoming rookie rankings and rookie draft. You're going to see some of these players really move up because of draft capital. Round 1 is the most important draft capital, but round 2 and round 3 is very important as well. You're going to see some of these players completely fall off the board. If Wandel Robinson, or if, let's say, Sky Moore, who I like Sky Moore, but if he gets drafted in round 5, he's going to be shooting down my boards like a free fall. There might be a Calvin Austin that if he's drafted in round 3, that's going to be completely different than if he's drafted in round 6. Wandel Robinson, same thing. There's so many different wide receivers. This class is a decent class of wide receivers for the 2022 class. I do believe that you have the Garrett Wilson and the Drake Londons and the Traylon Burks and even the Chris Olaves and the Jahan Dotsons. I think those are all good prospects, especially that top heavy, those top 3, Jameson Williams, George Pickens, like those are the top 5, 6 wide receivers are really good wide receivers. I don't think you're going to see Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson out of this class, but you can have a lot of Devontae Smith type of rookie seasons. You can have some Devontae Smith type rookie seasons. You could have some Amon-Ra St. Brown type abilities. Amon-Ra St. Brown wasn't scorched fire in the beginning, but you might have some of these rookies like a Chris Olave if he goes in round 2 to Tennessee or something like those. I know Robert Woods is there, but let's just say he goes to Tennessee or Buffalo. He might have a really slow start. Maybe it's Gabriel Davis season, and then halfway through, it might be Stephon Diggs and it might be Chris Olave. There's a lot of things that might happen with this draft class. This draft class is actually pretty well with wide receivers. And so the draft capital is going to determine where some of these wide receivers are going to get bumped up and where some of these wide receivers are going to fall off of scorched earth, unless I love them. Like, I loved Amon-Ra St. Brown. It was really hard. Like, I said we have Amari Rodgers, who for some reason Green Bay didn't use. Don't understand that, but whatever. And then you had Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I even went against my own, not own rules, but the round 4 wide receiver to draft before round 3 wide receiver and round 1 wide receiver is pretty ridiculous most of the time. But I was drafting Amon-Ra St. Brown over Dwayne Eskridge and Tutu Atwell because those players, I think, suck. I actually said that last year. I said Dwayne Eskridge is not trash. I just said that he was a player that I was never going to be having on my teams. I don't have him on my teams. And that's just because you have to look at the video too. You have to, and that's one of the biggest things that I feel like I have learned is if you don't watch the video and you know the players, they'll draft the Tutu Atwells and they'll draft Dwayne Eskridge's ahead of players like Amon-Ra St. Brown, even Amari Rodgers, because of draft capital. You have to put the video on and see, hey, can this player succeed at the next level? Even Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer was a player that I saw. First of all, he was way down my boards. And I was like, why did he get drafted that high by the Chargers? And I watched the tape again. I'm like, I'm not seeing what the Chargers are seeing. There are still people that are Josh Palmer advocates. I am still not one of them. I still think he will get, next year, it'll be between 400 and 499 yards because he's Josh Palmer's Mr. 400. And he'll have that. And then he'll be worth probably nothing. So if you can trade him now for even a second, a late second, if you can trade him for an early third, it's something that I would do because I'd rather have somebody that I think is going to have that potential of being even around 5 or round 4 versus Josh Palmer. That is what I'm doing. I'm trying to find the next Amon-Ra St. Brown compared to trying to find the next Josh Palmer. So again, this is Marcus with Dynasty Football Dads. I hope you like this video. Please subscribe. Please put a like, comment. It helps the video out. See you tomorrow, guys.